France's health minister has said that a French national has tested positive for hantavirus following her evacuation from the cruise liner MV Hondius. Now, her condition is said to be deteriorating. Meanwhile, the US says one of the 17 Americans being repatriated from the cruise ship has shown mild symptoms, and another has tested positive for the Andes strain of the virus, which is the one which is transmissible between humans. British passengers who are on board the ship have arrived back in the UK. They'll be isolated at a hospital in Merseyside, and they arrived at Arrowe Park Hospital last night after being flown to the UK from Tenerife. Now, the news comes as the head of the World Health Organization says that the US's decision not to follow WHO guidance to isolate passengers for 42 days may have risks. Well, our colleagues are on location. Our Spain correspondent Guy Hedgecote is live from us in Tenerife, and Vincent McAviney is at Arrowe Park for us as well. Guy, let's start with you. So just bring us up to date. Where are we with the passengers that have been moved off this cruise ship?
Well, yesterday, around 90 passengers were brought from the cruise ship here onto Tenerife and then swiftly taken to flights that repatriated them. Those were passengers representing 19 countries. There are just a few passengers left, just over 20 left to be repatriated today. There will be one flight heading to the Netherlands later today, and then the final flight taking passengers back home will go to Australia, probably this afternoon or this evening. After that, the Hondius ship will continue on its way with around 30 crew members who will still be on board to its final destination, which is Rotterdam in the Netherlands, and that will take just a few days. Here, the health ministry and the Spanish government has said that the whole operation has been very successful. They did use very strict security measures to make sure that there was no interaction between local people and the passengers coming off the boat, and also that the passengers spent as little time here on land in Tenerife as possible.
And interestingly, we're now hearing that a French passenger who was repatriated on a chartered flight from Tenerife is showing signs of hantavirus, and her condition is being described as deteriorating. Just different ways that different countries are removing their citizens from Tenerife.
Yes, that's right. And when the health minister, Monica Garcia, was talking about that yesterday, that specific case, she said, well, this is quite possible. And essentially, there's nothing that the Spanish authorities can do if people, after they have left Tenerife, they start to develop symptoms or even test positive. You know, and we've seen that in a couple of cases now. The Spanish authorities simply say they've done all they can. When people leave Tenerife, they have to undergo the necessary quarantine and the observation necessary. But clearly, there are concerns if people are showing symptoms or testing positive after leaving the boat.
OK, Guy, for the time being, thank you so much. Right, let's cross over to Vincent McAviney, who's at Arrowe Park here in the UK, where the British nationals have now arrived. Vincent, talk us through their situation.
Yeah, that's right. They landed last night at Manchester Airport, and then in full PPE gear, they were bussed here to Arrowe Park Hospital, which is outside Birkenhead on the Wirral, just sort of to the west of Liverpool, for anyone that doesn't know the UK. The 20 that are British. There is also a German citizen who's a UK resident and a Japanese passenger. They're all inside the hospital behind me now for a 3-day observation period in which they're being tested and checked to see whether or not anyone has the virus. No one at the moment is showing any symptoms of it, but that will then lead to a 42-day quarantine period. Now, Those who are able to return home will be able to do so. But if they, for instance, have other family that haven't been on the cruise at home, then they're going to have to stay here at this hospital in special accommodation, completely separate. It'll be away from the public, and there's in fact been fencing put up around it for safety and security. And during that quarantine period, both for those that get to go home and those that stay here, they'll be self-assessing. If they do develop the illness, they'll be taken to another site for treatment. But as it stands, no one here yet showing symptoms, but those tests over the next 3 days could reveal that this virus has spread, as we've seen with those who are returning to the US and, as you mentioned, to France as well.
OK, well, Vincent, as always, thanks so much for bringing us up to date. Vincent McAviney there at the hospital, the Arrowe Park Hospital, where the British nationals are. Guy also joining us from Tenerife. Thank you very much to both of you.